Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Another St. Catherine cabby killed. Another taxi driver has been killed in St. Catherine. David Everton Bartley, otherwise called Sonny, 57, from St. John's Road in Spanish Town in the parish, was shot dead Tuesday morning, minutes after driving out of his home. Police said about 6 a.m., Bartley left home for work and shortly after, several loud explosions were heard. Checks were then made, and Bartley was seen slumped around the steering wheel of his white Toyota Probox motor car, suffering with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He was assisted to the Spanish Town Hospital by residents, where he was pronounced dead. Police were later summoned, and upon arrival at the hospital, lawmen saw the body of the deceased lying on its back on a stretcher, clad in a white t-shirt, black jeans pants, and black sneakers. More than 4 taxi drivers have been killed in St. Catherine since January. Efforts to speak with Mr. Newman, president of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, have so far proven futile. On March 4, 2022, taxi driver Orlando Patterson, 29, from Gregory Park in Portmore in the parish, was shot and killed on Walker's Road in St. Catherine. The police report that explosions were heard in the vicinity of the Angels Runabout about 9:20 p.m. and an alarm was raised. On March 11, 2022, 48-year-old Christopher Ellis of Old Harbour Glaze, St. Catherine, was found shot to death on the Helsh Main Road in Portmore. Ellis was found near his Toyota Probox about 8:30 p.m. On April 14, 43-year-old Mark Perry, a resident of Gilden Way, Southborough, Portmore, was shot dead by unknown assailants in Independence City. Another taxi driver was shot dead the same day, also in Portmore. On January 8, Christopher Hewitt, 35, of Naceberry Villa, Spanish Town, was mowed down by a car along the Dunbeholden Main Road in St. Catherine shortly after midnight. Cabbies, school impacted by poor road conditions in Portland. Taxi operators who plied the Long Bay to Port Antonio route took to the streets of Drapers in Portland on Monday morning to express their displeasure at the state of the roads. According to them, work on the Southern Coast Highway has made a problem worse. However, this issue, they stress, is not with the project, which they welcome, but the way in which it is being implemented. We know the highway is coming and work are gone, but what we want still is a better work on the road, said one cabby who gave his name as Anthony. The man them, the contractor and the engineer, I do some work like they don't know what they're doing, cause we have traffic for nearly 3 and 4 hours. The condition of the road is terrible. It's a disgrace to Portland side. We need a grader or a roller to grade the road and roll it meanwhile they're doing the work. Right now, we can't drive in this condition here. It is total no, he said. He, like other protesters, called for the elected officials to intervene. The road conditions, he said, has had a physical and mental impact. We need somebody to come speak to us about the road condition because it can't stay like this. It is hurting us bad. It damages our mind, our car, and everything, so we need something to go on. It's 3 times vehicles go over the road near to Dolphin Bay, people taking themselves away from potholes, hitting off vehicles' mirror. We can't go on like this. We are not crabs. We are humans and taxi drivers, Anthony said. On Monday, he and other taxi operators withdrew their services and parked on the side of the road. Traffic was reduced to single lane with the police on standby to help as needed. They were also protested in Anchovy and Drapers, where work is ongoing on the highway project. Claudius Ray, who applies to Port Antonio to Long Bay route, also lashed out at what he said were non-responsive elected officials while complaining bitterly of the escalating gas and parts prices, plus the dent repair cost from the Shelby Road, which have left in his pocket. One irritated truck driver who opted not to provide his name also expressed his annoyance. We need a roadman. I lost 3 tires one time. Imagine you're paying taxes, license insurance, and you can't get a road to drive on comfortably, he said. Me I come from east and drop in a one patrol, a 3-wheel puncher, bend up 2 rim, chop 2 tire, and not only 1 patch me coulda patch. That no good. Me can't pay tax for them something there. This no make no sense. How long this a go take for fix? He asked angrily. Another driver expressed concern that inaction will eventually lead to fatalities. One night, I am coming down and dropping a one patrol and nearly drop out of the vehicle. Me head knock up on the roof 3 times. Me just have to hold on to the brake so that me no go over the gully, he said. The road them stay bad, ready to kill off people. Them not going to do anything until something bad happen. They not paying no attention to nobody, as this is total madness, he added. Meanwhile, Principal of Sherwood Forest Primary and Infant School, Claudine Lewis, said the educational institution has also been negatively impacted. The road is in a deplorable condition, the entire stretch of the roadway from Zion Hill into Port Antonio. It is absurd for persons to be driving on the roads. At the moment, I had to go for 2 of my teachers who were stuck in Port Antonio and some students to take them to school, she said. This cannot be allowed to continue. It is really affecting persons who have to traverse this roadway, and I think the authorities have to do something to improve the conditions urgently, especially when the rain falls, she urged. Polka boxes fueling crime, police say. They are a source of relaxation and light entertainment for many people at bars and gambling halls across Jamaica. But police say gambling equipment, popularly referred to as poker boxes, are also a growing target for criminals desperate to earn in Jamaica's tightening economic environment. Poker boxes are expensive, so once you business operators have them, they the criminals going to come, Superintendent Dwight Daly, head of the St. Elizabeth Police Division, told reporters by telephone late last week. Daly said upscale gaming boxes, including those with touchscreen technology, are worth as much as $500,000 each and are much in demand, while older versions can be sold for up to $300,000. Daly is urging the authorities, as well as gaming operators, to engage in technology by attaching tracking devices similar to those used on motor cars to their poker boxes and other equipment. He suggested technological methodologies, which would mean that once it moves from the location, it sends an alert to your phone. Said the St. Elizabeth Police Chief, if businesses think along those lines and engage in that sort of protective activity, I am sure we would be better able to track these people. Poker boxes were said to be the main target of criminals who broke into a bar in Hampton area of traditionally low-crime Malvern atop the Santa Cruz Mountains in the early hours of Wednesday, April 13. The criminals also allegedly stole assorted expensive liquor and musical equipment and reportedly raped the bartender who was staying on the premises. Worse was to follow as the fleeing heavily armed criminals, who found their escape plans disrupted as daylight broke, shot dead 2 residents, a construction worker 37-year-old Michael James and 51-year-old farmer Courtney Simmet. James was said to have been among a group of angry people chasing the hoodlums, while Simmet, who was heading to his farm, presumably unaware of danger, was apparently mistaken by his killers as one of their pursuers. With the assistance of residents, police later cornered the alleged getaway vehicle and held the driver, 37-year-old farmer Carlos Beckford of Brompton Western St. Elizabeth. Beckford was reportedly intercepted on a little-used road which links Malvern to Mountainside and other Pedro Plains communities close to Ivory Cottage, which is about 2 miles downslope from Malvern. A remote, blissfully quiet farming community, Ivory community clings to the southern slopes of Santa Cruz Mountains, just above the farm-rich Pedro Plains, which rolls away to the Caribbean Sea and St. Elizabeth's capital Black River, several miles away. Police are still hunting for 4 men who escaped in bushes when the car was intercepted. Residents told reporters that the men initially fled on foot through bushes after failing to connect with their getaway car as dawn broke. It was during that time that Smith and James were murdered. The killers eventually linked up with their getaway vehicle just west of Malvern, residents say. A few days after his capture, Beckford was formally charged with murder and related offenses. He is now before the court. Police say stolen poker boxes were found abandoned in bushes. Smith's cellular phone was said to be among the items found in the captured getaway vehicle. Daly told reporters that the criminals were believed to be part of the network focusing on the theft of poker boxes. The criminal group operates from communities in western St. Elizabeth, including Brampton, Spring Park, and Speculation. An operation in those communities uncovered disassembled polka boxes hidden in bushes, Daly said. However, efforts to find men suspected of being involved failed. They seem to have fled the area, Daly said. Citizens who believe they have useful information about the fugitives are being urged to tell the police by using police emergency numbers or contacting officers who they know and trust. Residents and police appear to be in agreement that the criminals who targeted Malvern on April 13 had been checking out the area for some time. They were there playing the boxes 2 or 3 days before, Daly said. Residents who spoke with reporters concurred. However, locals apparently paid little or no attention to the strangers in their midst. It's an attitude Daly is anxious to change. When you see suspicious men, tell the police, said Daly. And in addition to placing tracking devices on expensive equipment such as poker boxes, business operators should invest in surveillance cameras, he said. When something happens, make sure those cameras are not erased, he added. Residents insist that, in living memory, nothing quite like the events on April 13 has ever happened in Malvern, where crime is usually confined to farm livestock theft and rare cases of shop break-in. This was a one-off, said 68-year-old retail store operator Owen Mills, who was born and grown up in the community. However, police say that Malvern incidents reflect a worrying uptick in violent crimes across St. Elizabeth, with 15 murders since the start of the year up to last Thursday, compared to 9 for the same period last year. Deputy Superintendent Ron Elliott, who leads criminal investigations in this southern central parish, told reporters, following the monthly meeting of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation on April 14, that in 72-hour period up to then, several murders, including those in Malvern, had happened across the parish. He listed lottery scamming, land disputes, and a drug deal gone sour among the motives. Daily told reporters last week that apart from shop break-ins and robbery, such as happening in Malvern, lottery scamming represented a major worry and was a source of reason for a number of murders. St. Elizabeth is suffering from scamming, as is the case with other parishes, Daly said. He said the police were working closely with the Financial Investigations Division, FID, as we seek to take profit out of crime. We have a dedicated team known as the Proactive Investigations Unit, and they are tasked to investigate lottery scammers, Daly noted. While grateful for assistance from citizens, Daly cautioned that people should not take matters into their own hands, as happened in Malvern with tragic results. He said the St. Elizabeth Police was actively involved in visiting communities, meeting locals in groups, and urging that the best way to assist law and order is to exercise vigilance and to consistently inform police of happenings in an accurate and timely fashion. While community actions such as neighborhood watch programs had the potential to be the great help, Daly regretted that in some cases such a group had grown dormant. Many people were reluctant to exercise the required discipline, such as keeping minutes, record keeping, as part of the keeping formal community group's accountability and will run, he said. Many people just prefer to be informal, he noted. The need for community vigilance was emphasized by councillors including Donald Simpson, Jamaica Labour Party JLP Malvern Division, Sitani Holness JLP Junction Division, and Leighton Simit PNP Marysville Division during discussions with journalists following the April monthly meeting of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation. All three felt that organization of neighborhood watch programs would be of great help. Simit said the situation was of a particular concern in Marysville, where cattle stealing had become increasingly prevalent. 13 cows had been stolen in the first 2 weeks of April, he said. Citizens come to start looking out for each other and report some of the strange things happening in their area because police alone can't do it. My advice to people in my area: look out at nights. Particularly, organize your own neighborhood watches. We have to find some way and means, like doing watch rotations, Simit noted. However, for deep rural communities, such suggestions are far more easily spoken about than implemented. In Ivory Cottage last week, a group of young farmers laughed when asked how best they felt that they could help the police in protecting their community. But we no have no gun, one man eventually responded, still laughing. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.